Good now, travelers, and welcome to Now. Today we're diving into a topic that is as controversial as it is compelling, a topic that challenges the very foundation of what we've been taught about history, geography, and identity. I'm your favorite time traveler, and today we're going to explore the idea that the Egyptians, specifically the descendants of Pharaoh Akhenaten, were already present in what we now call the United States. And these descendants, well, they might just be the people we know today as African Americans. Now, I know this sounds like a radical idea, but bear with me. The history we've been told is one where African Americans arrived in this land as slaves, brought over on ships from Africa. But what if this isn't the full story? What if long before Columbus or any European set foot on these shores, our ancestors were already here, ruling over this land with a rich, advanced civilization that was later erased from history? Let's start with Akhenaten, a pharaoh of ancient Egypt who is often referred to as the heretic king. Akhenaten is known for his revolutionary attempt to shift Egypt from polytheism to monotheism, worshipping Aten, the sun disk. His reign was marked by significant changes that were not well received by the traditional power structures of Egypt. After his death, and I am using air quotes, there was an intentional effort to erase his legacy. Statues were destroyed, his name was omitted from official records, and his reforms were quickly reversed. But what if before this erasure, Akhenaten had his descendants make their way across the seas to the land we now call America? What if we established a new civilization here, one that bore the hallmarks of ancient Egypt? This would make us the descendants of these early rulers, inheritors of a legacy that has been systematically hidden from us. Consider the many similarities between ancient Egypt and certain cultural and architectural elements found here in the United States. There are rumors, for instance, that there are pyramids hidden deep within the Grand Canyon, pyramids that we don't even have access to. While mainstream history dismisses these claims, it makes you wonder, could these structures be remnants of an ancient Egyptian civilization that once thrived here? And what about the name America? Could it have been derived from the name Armana? Over time, names evolve and pronunciations change. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that Armana could have morphed into America through centuries of linguistic shifts. If this theory holds any truth, it would mean that this land, this continent, was once ruled by the descendants of one of Egypt's most enigmatic pharaohs. But what would the implications of this be? For one, it would mean that African Americans are not just descendants of enslaved people brought here from Africa. We are the rightful inheritors of this land. Our ancestors were kings and queens, builders of civilizations whose history has been systematically erased to keep us from reclaiming our true heritage. Let's also consider how Akhenaten's story parallels the story of Jesus. Both figures challenged the established religious order. Both were considered heretical by those in power, and both had their legacies twisted or erased by those who come after. The only difference, one of them actually existed. Akhenaten was removed from power and efforts were made to erase his memory. The story of Jesus was co-opted and used to create a system of control that has shaped much of Western civilization. Now, here's something to think about. If Jesus never stepped foot in America, why does America have the largest number of Jesus worshippers in the world? Based on my understanding, it could be because the story of Jesus is actually the story of Akhenaten, a story that has been retold, reshaped, and rebranded. If Akhenaten's descendants were here, ruling this land, and if his teachings are a part of our legacy, then it makes sense that the worship of a Jesus figure would be so prominent in this land. It's not that Jesus came to America, but rather that the story of Jesus as we know it today may have origins deeply connected to the story of Akhenaten, the person who once ruled this land. If we entertain the idea that Akhenaten's descendants are here in America and we were once ruling this land long before being overthrown and our history erased, then we have to ask, who would even benefit from this erasure? The answer lies in the power structures that were built on the backs of our ancestors. By rewriting geography and history, those in power have been able to maintain a narrative that attempts to keep us disconnected from our true heritage and, by extension, our true power. The psychological implications of this are profound. If you believe your ancestors were nothing more than slaves brought here against their will, it's easy to internalize a sense of inferiority, a sense that you are less than others. But if you knew that your ancestors were rulers of this very land, that they built civilizations and wielded power, how would that change your perception of yourself? How would it change your perception of the world around you? In 2024, we see how easily history can be rewritten to fit a particular narrative. Governments and institutions have the power to reshape the story, to hide truths that don't serve their interests. So, is it really so far fetched to believe that something similar could have happened hundreds or even thousands of years ago? That the true history of this land has been buried, our people stripped of their legacy and forced into bondage. But now this information is streaming, and it's time to ask the ancestors for guidance. If this theory holds any truth, Aten, the sun, will shine light on this area. The ancestors will guide us to the truth, and if it doesn't apply, then we'll let it fly. But if it's real, if this theory has merit, then it's time to reveal it, to reclaim what was taken, and to reconnect with the true inheritance that belongs to us. Because this land is ours, and this history is ours, then we owe it to ourselves and to future generations to uncover this truth. The time for silence is over. The time for reclaiming our legacy is now. So as we wrap up this journey, I invite you to consider the implications of this theory, to question the narratives that have been handed down to you, to reconnect with the ancestors and seek their guidance on this path. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember, history is not just what's written in the books, it's also what you feel in your soul. This is your favorite time traveler signing off. Enjoy your now. Oh, one more thing before I go. Please be sure to leave a comment below with your thoughts or share your own experiences. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to visit 714.com to explore more timelines, guided meditations, and our new occult library. Safe travels, and remember, always pack light.